Cool. Hi everyone. Yeah, here is Solar Haven Nigeria Limited again. Yeah, on this edition we'll be talking about energy saving device. Yeah, by energy saving device it means those gadgets, those appliances that doesn't really consume much. Now come to think of it, I've been to a client's place and the client is actually using a 55 inches TV, and checking the load power consumption of the TV television, I found it to be around 450 watts. 450 watts. And you know, the same thing, something actually still happened when I went to another client's house and I was seeing a 62 inches plasma TV with 170 watts. I was actually shocked because in a normal way I expect a 62 inches TV to consume more than 55 inches TV. That's the norms. But it doesn't work that way. Devices that are built earlier in these states, most times they build energy saving devices that doesn't consume much, which will serve as advantage to be used on solar inverter system because it doesn't really consume. Now, the reason and the essence of this video is to advise and admonish clients to always go for energy saving devices. Please, when you want to make a purchase, maybe you want to buy a AC, try and go for energy saving ones. Inverter AC, we have inverter AC, but please take note, there's some manipulation in those things. I've gone to a client house and before I go to the person's place, was like, I'm having inverter AC, I'm having energy saving. Okay, no problem, let me just have a look. Getting there, I was seeing over 3,000 watts AC. I was like, wow. And I was seeing on it labeled in a big way that you can easily see inverter AC. And I was trying to tell the client, I'm very sorry, this is not an energy saving device, not inverter AC. When we talk of inverter AC, when we talk of energy saving device, they don't really consume relatively to other. So most times our advice to clients now is that please, when we make purchase of any appliances, please try to check the power consumption. Try to check the power consumption, because the lesser the power consumption of your devices, the more advantage you have using a solar inverter system. Now imagine the client that I told you about that is using a 55 inches with around 450 watts and another client is using 62 inches with around 180-70 watts. Now if they are using on the solar inverter system, the same kind of solar inverter system, the same size. Now the normal way is that the one using 55 inches with the higher consumption will surely have a lower supply hours of duration for system to last. Now, but the one that is having a 62 inches but an energy saving TV, we have a much and longer hours to use the system. So please, our able clients, when you are making a purchase of appliances, always check the load consumption rating. They will always write it there, the power rating. If it's fan that you want to make a purchase of, we have plastic fan that they are around 55 watts. And I've seen plastic fan around 120 watts too. The same fan, almost approximately the same cost. Now, at the same time, you have a recharging fan of around 35 watts, like the one I'm using in my apartment. I'm using a 25 watts fan, recharging fan. This is why I got that, because I have the knowledge of it. So when I went to the market to make a purchase, I checked the load consumption of the ones available, and I choose one that is least to make my system that I'm using at home to make it last longer. Now, coming to AC as well, please, when you are making a purchase of a AC, try and go for the inverter AC, the one that doesn't really consume, if you'll be using it with solar inverter system. The same thing happens for freezer. Now, I stay with my auntie and to shock me, she uses a 1 kVA system, and the 1 kVA system powers a freezer. And with that same mentality, I went to a client place, seeing the same size of freezer, and I was like, okay, 1 kVA will power it. But I was safe. How? Because I have the energy meter with me. And with the energy meter, I plugged it with the socket, then plugged the freezer, and I saw over 1,000 watts. I was like, wow. Thank God I didn't fall into the problem, because had I have recommended the 1 kVA, the system would actually power the system. It will not actually power the freezer. So in our advice now is that whenever you are making a purchase of any appliance, please go for energy saving appliance, the one that doesn't really consume so much. Yes, the one that doesn't really consume so much. Thank you very much for listening to this edition, and we advise that you contact us